Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am doing a little review over the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Foundation Stick. Now, I don't really do reviews a lot on my channel, but I noticed that there wasn't a lot of people talking about this product. I've seen a ton of reviews for the liquid form of this, but I searched online before I actually purchased this for a good solid review and like some swatches, and I really just couldn't find much on this foundation. So I thought I would throw it out there, especially for people who are probably going to be searching for this, and hopefully it will be helpful if you are interested in this little guy. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like as I'm applying it to my face. Just a little demo of how I apply it and my thoughts during that process. And then I'll get a little bit more into depth with the product afterwards. I just start out by applying the stick foundation directly to my face, and I am doing a full coverage look so you guys can see the full potential of this foundation. So I'm just going to apply about 2 to 3 streaks on each side of my cheeks and then a little bit on my forehead and my chin. Now I'm going in and buffing the product in. It's really important that you have a buffing brush for a stick foundation like this. A beauty blender really doesn't buff the product into the skin. The whole point of this foundation is that it's actually supposed to look like your skin, so you really want to take the time to buff it in. I'm using the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe face brush, and it's so perfect with this foundation, you guys. I would highly recommend it. But you can see as I'm buffing it in, it really does look like skin, and that was the whole point of this foundation. The entire claim that this foundation had is that it was made for 4K resolution, and it was made to look like your actual skin, and I really think that claim is true. It does end up looking amazing once you're done buffing. Is $43, very typical for Makeup Forever foundations. They're normally in the 40 range. It's 12.5 grams or 0.44 ounces. Basically a traditional stick foundation. I've only ever tried 2 other stick foundations, one by Bobbi Brown and just like a Maybelline Fit Me, I think, from the drugstore. So I had 2 reasons why I wanted to purchase this. Number one, just to try out the Ultra HD formula, and if you're wondering why I didn't get the liquid formula, that's because I actually did not like the original Makeup Forever HD liquid foundation. I did not like it. I used it probably about 5 or 6 times, and it just didn't look good on me. I mean, I just couldn't understand why so many people liked it. It really emphasized my pores, I felt like, and it just wasn't anything special. So I wanted to really try out this Ultra HD formula because I saw Wayne Goss talking about it, and I saw him, or he said something about it being the first foundation made for 4K resolution, which I obviously don't have on my camera, but I just thought that was really neat. So that's one reason I wanted to purchase it. Another reason is that I'll be traveling to New Orleans next week. You'll probably be seeing this by the time I'm in New Orleans, but I just thought it would be very travel friendly. So let's get into the coloring of this. I'm going to be very brief because, to be honest, I am not an expert on Makeup Forever foundation colors. I remember in the regular Makeup Forever HD foundation, I wore shade 127 and 128 depending on how tan I was. And I ended up choosing the shade 127 in the foundation stick, but it's converted to a new numbering system, so it's actually called Y335. So just in case you're wondering what color I am, it's a very yellow base foundation, which is what I prefer in my foundations and concealers generally, and the Y underneath is going to mean yellow, and then they also have an R system, which is going to mean more of a red undertone. I think Y and R are the only 2 letterings that they have for this product. So the first thing I noticed when applying this foundation was that it is So creamy. It has a semi-dewy finish. It's not overly dewy, but it's not really matte at the same time, which is really great for me because you guys know I have super dry skin, and I was almost worried that this would be, you know, too dry, because stick formulas do tend to be a little bit more on the drier side, but surprisingly it is more on the dewy side than anything. Now when you actually let it sit into your skin, it does dry a little bit and it has more of like a natural finish. And then what I generally do is I just set it with a little bit of translucent powder, and I just have this like perfect natural finish. I want to talk about the wear of this foundation. I have had no problem with this stick formula coming off or melting or, you know, getting like patchy around my skin. This really does stay on nicely, and I was so impressed with that. Another thing that I noticed while applying this foundation in direct sunlight, I've applied it just in my beauty room with just my regular like overhead light, and then today I actually filmed a tutorial with it, and I filmed it like in direct sunlight. And this was like the coolest thing that I had noticed about it, and I just noticed it today, is that when I applied it in direct sunlight, it actually looked like my skin. So a lot of the times when I'm outside like filming tutorials in natural sunlight and I apply a foundation, it kind of sometimes just looks like gross. You know what I mean? Like you're looking at yourself in direct sunlight and you're like, oh, that doesn't really look good. This looked awesome. When I was buffing it into my skin today, it just literally looked like my actual skin. And that's something I can definitely appreciate. And I think that's what this foundation was actually made for. It was made for 4K resolution, and it's supposed to actually look like your skin. I think this foundation has a customizable coverage, so you could do something like a sheer look with it if you just applied a couple dots all over your face, or you could do more of a full coverage look like I have on today. And whenever I do that, I do a couple streaks on each side of my face, a couple streaks on my forehead, and then a big streak on my chin normally. So I really have nothing bad to say about this foundation. I honestly, like, I'm looking at my skin right now and it looks like my skin. And I wanted to find something wrong with this little guy so bad, just because I hated the first version, but this is actually really awesome. I will say that it's not the like most amazing, like flawless looking foundation, but that's not really what I was looking for with this formula. I was looking for something that was going to be really versatile, that I could wear, you know, like to put on really quickly, or that I could wear for my everyday foundation, to travel with. My whole thing with this foundation is that I just wanted it to look good, to look like my natural skin, and I really think that it does that. It's not cakey. You can layer products on top of it. I've layered like my MAC Studio Fix powder on top. I've layered my Lorac Perfection powder, and then my favorite way to actually wear it is just with a little bit of Mercier on top. So overall, I'm actually more of a fan of this Ultra HD formula than I was the original formula. And I think that it's going to be good, the stick formula is going to be good for all different skin types, whether you have dry, combo, oily. If you have more of an oilier skin type, you'll definitely want to set it with something heavier like MAC Studio Fix powder. And then if you're more on the dry side like me, like I said, I really just like to use the Mercier Silk, not silk, the translucent loose setting powder. So my final thoughts are, if you can get a sample of this at Sephora, I know it's probably hard for them to get samples of this formula since it is stick. I'm sure they can probably just like take some off the top to give to you, because regardless you're going to have to buff it in either way. But yeah, try this out. I was a fan of it. I like it so much better than the original formula, and it's going to be really travel friendly. You can use this with your hands, just to buff it in with your hands. The warmth will really help to melt the product in that way. But my personal favorite brush to use with it is the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe Complexion Perfection brush, just because it's a really good buffer and it buffs into the skin and it really gives a skin-like appearance. So that's my final thoughts on the foundation. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about it, or if I did not touch on something, feel free to leave that down below, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.